Oh. Oh. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, now we have seen how Vishnu Sahasranama is important and how we can also understand that the Archana is generally performed by the devotees daily. If it is not convenient, they perform this worship at least on their birthdays or on the eclipse days or on the day in which the sun moves from one zodiac to another, that is the Shankaranti day. So this performance has been prescribed by the Shastra for warding off the troubles arising from the positions of the planets or the anger of the rulers or incurable diseases or some ruthless enemies, something like that. So the highest effect is for purifying the mind and thus gaining more and more inner poise for the sadhaka in meditation. So now we have seen the questions of Yudhishthira. Following that, now we need to know the installation of the Lord. So all the rituals start in Hinduism with a beautiful function, that is the installation of the Lord in the devotee's own physical form. This is technically called as Anga nyasa and Karanyasa, the installation in the limbs and the installation in the palms respectively. So this is a method by which the seeker with willful thoughts and they deliberate the physical signs that is that sanctifies that person, whoever is going to perform this recitation, to be a divine, that his body or the parts of the body is a divine temple, and he installs various sacred deities in himself. So this helps the sadhaka to realize that though he is worshipping the Lord as a goal, that is, or as an ideal, other than himself, that is, we say it in abheda or anya. So in fact, he is to seek his identity with no traces of differentiation. That is abheda, that is between himself and the Lord. So the final realization is a perfect identity indicated in the Mahavakya, I am Brahman, that is Aham Brahmasmi. So neither in the northern text nor in the original Mahabharata do we find this subjective installation ceremony, that is Anganyasa, prescribed. However, the Panditas of the ritualism in the south employ the Anganyasa, and it being such a beautiful act, so very helpful to the seekers. We give here below the most, we can here now see the, whatever I'm going to say, that is the most popular one practiced widely in the south. So the installation ceremony declares to the devotees that the enchanting form of Vishnu is not just a form, but ultimately it is for what reason? That is, it is for realizing that one infinite reality without the names and the forms, in which the recognition of even the distinction of the meditator, the meditated, and the meditation is to cease. So besides this, the sadhaka is also given a temporary sense of purity and the sanctity in himself. So just as a devotee feels highly inspired in the divine atmosphere like in temple, so too here, when you do the Anga nyasa, you might feel that you are right in the puja room, or we can say that you got the purity and the peace before recitation. So the body itself is rendered as the temple of the Lord, wherein the various limbs become the altars upon which, with a heart of love and the faith, that is the devotion involves and installs various deities. So in this process, in order to bring the full blast of the sacred suggestions to him, the repetition of each of the mantras is emphasized. That is by a corresponding physical sign. So the idea is only, as we have already seen, is what? To establish the correct mood of the devotee in order to contemplate the right way of worship. So now moving on, let us see how this is done. Okay. There are few things. First one is Asya Shri Vishnu De Vishnur Divya Sahasranama Stotra. So first is Asya Shri. So what is this we are going to do? That we are going to do the thousand names of Lord Vishnu. So Asya Shri Divya Sahasranama Stotra. What is that? It is a Mahamantrasya Shri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi. So what is this? So for this sacred chanting, the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, the Rishi is Shri Vedavyasa. So the great mantras of the deep spiritual significance and the sublime Vaidika dignity are not mere poetic compositions. So when a mastermind through the meditation process transcends the lower levels of his personality and goes into the higher mental altitude, and then he does the contemplation where he receives certain revelations, and with that he repeatedly undergoes the process and understands whatever is heard is called as, in Sanskrit, called as Shruti. So that whatever he heard alone have the power to stand against the onslaught of the intellect, the time, the forces of criticism, and so on. So because it is in the point of seat of meditation, it is heard and not having any authority that this person has created it. So such statements, when contemplated upon by the seekers, they too, in the spiritual candescence of the mantras, get unconsciously uplifted into the realms unknown. Okay, so there they come to live a world of experience which you cannot be attained in a normal frequency of time or the ordinary multitude. So here the author of this mantra is termed in our Vedas as the seer, that is the mantra drashta. Okay, the mantra drashta is in Sanskrit. Such rishis themselves admit that they did not manufacture, invent, or compose or create these mantras, but they had a revelation or a vision, or we say it as a darshanam of the mantra. So the mantra drashta, which is the rishis, we say the guru of the seeker, who is seeking the path with the help of that particular mantra. So here the rishi of the mantra is installed where at the root of the head, and the seeker in his seat of Vishnu Sahasranama chanting, first of all chants this mantra in his mind, and with the right hand thumb, middle finger, and the ring finger touches the top of the head. So the right hand thumb, the middle finger, and the ring finger touches the top of the head, and making it Asya Shri Vishnur Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mantrasya Shri Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishihi. So this is how it starts with. Okay. So you take the three fingers, what I mentioned, and then keep it here. The right thumb, the middle finger, and the ring finger touches the top of the head and making it Asya Shri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishihi. This is how you install the Rishi on the top of your head. Continuing. So every poetry has a meter. So the meter in which the mantra is revealed. So the teacher also mentions that because in order to the disciple to chant the shloka in that meter. So Anushtup is the name of the particular meter in which this 1,000 names of the chanting of the Vishnu is sung. So the chant is to come out through the mouth, and therefore the altar of the meter can be only the mouth, because the meter is through by chanting and the chanting is through by your mouth. So the fingers that were touching the roof of the head now comes down to touch the significantly the lips where the mantra is repeated in the mind of the seeker. So what we have seen first is the installation of the guru or the poet, whoever had written it, or the whoever had heard it, the drashta. So what we call it, Asya Shri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishihi. Now Anushtup Chandaha. It is on the mouth. So the same three fingers we are going to use. Anushtup Chandaha. Anushtup Chandaha. So that is the meter with which the teacher has heard it and is giving the same to the students. And continuing, next, every deity is a manifestation of the mighty omnipotency of the Supreme. So the creator, the sustainer of the Dharma, that is the son of the Devaki, Devaki Nandana, is manifested power of the Almighty. So the creative power of the righteousness and the peace is installed at the navel, which is called as the Nabhi point, and therefore the fingers come down from the heart region to the navel region. So, okay, before this, there is one more. There is a heart region also. First, we shall complete that. So, the Lord Vishnu, of the form of the entire universe of the varieties, which is the names and the forms, we call it Vishwarupa. Even in Bhagavad Gita, we see the Vishwarupa Darsana. So, is the deity of the mantra. So, the Lord Vishnu is the theme of the chanting. So, the Lord of the Vaikunta is the altar at which the devotee is preparing to offer himself in humble dedication and utter and surrender. Since Lord Vishnu is to the devotee, the Lord of his heart, they put it in the center of that personality. That is while chanting mentally the shloka, the mantra, Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma Shriman Narayano Devata. So, what is it? So, he does it with all sincerity and devotion. He installs the Lord in the heart, bringing the fingers from the lips to touch the center of the bosom, making it Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma. Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma. Shriman Narayano Devata. Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma. Shriman Narayano Devata. So this is in the heart center. Now, whatever I told you already, that the creator and the sustainer of the Dharma, the Devaki Nandana, is a manifested power of the Supreme, and that creative power of the righteousness and peace is installed in the navel part, which is Nabhi. So therefore, the fingers come down from the heart to the Nabhi, which is the navel point, and making it Devaki Nandana Srashteti Shaktihi. Devaki Nandanas. Devaki Nandanas Srishteti Shaktihi. Srishteti. Srashteti. It is not Srishteti. Sorry, it's Srashteti. Is plus Rasra. Retrofluxa. Ta with a matra. Ta with ikara, which is short. Srishteti Shaktihi. Devaki Nandana Srishteti Shaktihi. So that is the supreme power which is in the Nabhi navel. Moving on. Now, so the mighty creative power invoked and established on the navel region, it cannot be conceived by the mind. Therefore, to nail it down, the Keelakam, and established in our comprehension, this mantra, which I am going to say, conceives the power as the Lord who bears the conch, the sword, named the Nandaka, and the discus. Okay, so this is only to show how the total cosmic power expressed in terms of our present understanding as the creation, sustenance, and destruction is but a manifestation of the Lord. Okay, so the conch, the Shankha, represents the call of the reality. Okay, the Lord's own declarations stated in the scriptures, and Nandaka, the sword that punishes to bring the joy, Nandana, into the community, and the destruction without which the evolution is impossible. So the evolution has to happen where we understand that we are not just the limited being, and it is represented by the concept of the discus, that is the chakra. So whatever we have seen is the Shankha and the Nandaka and the chakra. So Shankha Brinnandaki Chakriti Keelakam. So here it is also to be noted that the blowing of the conch represents the speech, wielding the sword represents the action, and the discus that takes off from him at which at his own will represents his thoughts. So what are the three things we have seen already, which is the Shankha, then there is a Nandana, and then there is a the chakra. So what are all the things? Shankha, Nandaki, sorry, not Nandaki, Nandaki, Shankha, Nandaki, chakra. Shankha, Nandaki, chakra. Shankha represents the speech, Nandaki represents the action, and the final one, which is the chakra. The chakra, which is the discus, which represents the that which takes off from him at his free will, which is representing his thoughts. So thus, this great power installed at the navel expresses itself in the world through speech, through action, and through the thought. So speech, action, through the thought. What is speech and action and the thought is what we should see in our Sanskrit. Action is, speech is Vachika, action is Kaika, thought is Manasika. So Vachika, Kaika, and Manasika. So to conceive fully this form is to hold firmly onto the Lord's own feet, and therefore when this mantra is mentally chanted, the fingers move from the navel, and with this both hands, the seeker touches his own feet. Here, it is to be carefully noted how the Guru is kept at the roof of the head, right? Guru is kept at the roof of the head, the Veda in the mouth, then the Lord in the heart, and the power in the navel, and thereby the seeker himself becomes so sacred that he prostrates onto himself by holding his own feet. So can there be a better method of preparing the devotee to realize ultimately his identity with the Lord? Guru, Veda, the Devata, then the power, and then you ultimately touch your feet because it has become divine. So the Guru is installed, which is who is the Guru here? The Vedavyasa Rishihi. So asya Shri Vishnor Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha. And moving on to the heart, which is Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma Shriman Narayano Devata. The Shakti Devaki Nandana Srashteti Shaktihi. Then moving on to your legs, Shankha Brinnandaki Chakriti Kilakam. Shankha Brinnandaki Chakriti Kilakam. Okay, Kilakam is like a lock on the key or something like that. So where then finally, whenever there is a large wealth in the box, so the Kilakam is where you touch the legs, and then what do you call that? Whenever there is a large wealth in the box, it becomes treasure and it is locked safely and protected. So when the divine installation has taken place, the body has become the temple of the supreme power, the Almighty, and therefore it has become a sacred treasure, a house to be protected, right? So it should not move away from it. But the seeker in himself has no power to protect, and so he invokes the astra, that is the weapon of Vishnu. What is the astra of the Vishnu? Weapons used by the hand directly at the close quarter. Okay, that is what is it? That is the protector of the world to stand by for the defense of the sanctified bosom, which we already have. The what is that? The Sharanga. Sharanga. What is Sharanga? Is the name of the bow. That is the Dhanush of Vishnu. What that is called as Sha'ir Inga. Sharanga. Sha'ir Inga. Sharanga. Sharanga is the name of the bow of that is the Dhanush of Vishnu, and the mace, which is the Gada. Gada is another of his weapon. Sharanga and Gada. These two form the defense mechanism, where it which is made by the Lord himself. At this moment, when this mantra is mentally chanted, what happens? It signifies that the student lifts the palm away from the feet, and with the stretched out index and the middle finger on the right palm, index and the middle finger of the right palm, snaps them to the open left palm. This is the left palm, open left, this is the palm, and these are all the two fingers, and then you need to snap it like this. So what you're saying, Sharanga, okay? Sha'ir Inga, Sharanga, Sharanga Dhanva, Sharanga Dhanva, Sharanga Dhanva, Gadadhara iti Astram. So it will protect us because we have become pure. You do not want to get impure again. So that we are invoking that bow and the mace to protect us. And what is the name of the bow? The Dhanush is Sharanga. Sha'ir Inga. Sharanga Dhanva Gadadhara iti Astram. Two things are there. Sharanga Dhanva Gadadhara iti Astram or Ityastram. So it Sharanga Dhanva Gadadhara iti Astram. Okay. Next. Rathanga Pani Rakshobhya iti Netram. So Lord Vishnu, as Lord Krishna, played the part of the charioteer and gained the name the what is that? Rain-handed. That is the Rathanga Pani. What is the Rathanga Pani means? Ratha, the chariot. Okay. And the Anga is the part. Rathanga, the part of the chariot. So Rathanga Pani, one who has part of the chariot in the hand. Okay, Pani, hand. So generally, it is interpreted as the one who has the wheel of the Ratha in the hand and symbolizing it with the discus. So this is the crude meaning. But so as Parthasarathi, Lord Vishnu had the reins of the chariot in his hand. So This is what is the actual understanding, that how he had the reins of the chariot in the hand and he was taking Partha all through the war. So that's why he got this name. So now we understand that a charioteer has to gate every step of the horse in order that the chariot be safe and travel be pleasant, so that the horse will not have that intelligence. The charioteer has the reins in his hand, and through his intelligence he sees the road and takes the ride safely. So of the sense organs, eyes are the most powerful ones because they are well guided. All others follow the eyes, right? So when the Lord Vishnu, the charioteer himself, is installed in the eyes, the individual is safe in the spiritual pilgrimage, right? So where he is going, therefore, invoking the divine driver with the reins in his hand, Ratanga Pane, he is installed in the pair of the eyes, and the moment of the mentally chant, the moment you mentally chant this, both the eyes are touched by the tip of the fingers. So what do you call that? Rathangapani rakshobhya iti netram. Rathanga thamaha prana. Rathanga, like Ganga. Rathanga pani. Pani rakshobhya. Rakshobhya iti netram. So we installed the Guru in the head, the Veda, that is the meter in the mouth, and then moving on, we had the Devata in the heart, and then the Shakti in the navel, and then you touch your legs and the feet because it has become already so pure. And then moving on, you invoke the Dhanush and the mace, the Gada, because you need the lock in order to continue. So you keep your palm and then you hit it, and then continuing, you say that you touch your two eyes and say Rathanga Pani Rakshobhya iti netram, so that the person who takes care of takes care of the journey of Arjuna. Similarly, he takes care of all your senses to be following whatever you are going to chant and recite. So next, continuing, the Trisama, which is glorified by all the three types of the Sama songs. That is Deva, Vrata, Prokta. So he who is very theme, that is glorified by the Sama songs, that is Samanga. So he whose glory itself is manifested, the Samaveda. He is none other than the Supreme. So we need to understand that the great Lord is installed as an armor to wear for self-protection. So while chanting, this is in the mind of the seeker, that first he touches with the tip of his fingers of each arms, the same, that is the shoulders. So with the right hand fingers, the right shoulder, and with the left hand fingers, the left shoulder, and afterwards cross the arms in front of him, making fingers of each palm touch the other shoulder. So, and if he is actually wrapping himself and wearing as if he is wearing the divine armor. So first he touches his own arms like this, and then he will cross, touch like this and cross. So this is how it is. So why he is doing that? As I said, so he wants to protect himself while chanting. So the Lord is installed as an armor, so that he wears it and gets the self-protection. So this is called as Trisama Samagas Sameti Kavacham. Trisama Samagas Sameti Kavacham. Kavacham, armor. Trisama, that is who is glorified by all the three types of the Sama songs. Samagas Sameti. Samagas Sameti. Samaga, her. So Samagaha is glorified by the Samaga songs, that is the subject. Sameti. So by doing the glorification. So by the one who is glorified in the Sama Vedas through the three songs, that person, you take it as a kavacha. So Trisama Samagas Sameti Kavacham. So First, you touch with your same hand like this, and then you cross like this and cross. Okay, this is after the eyes. And now the Supreme Brahman, the infinite bliss, is the very womb, which is called as Yoni in Sanskrit, from which the universe is totally emerged outside. So the procreated world of endless varieties has only one eternal father, and this source is the bliss, that is the Paramananda. When this is chanted, the seeker installs the infinite bliss at the very place of the procreation in himself. So it is a spot in this great divine temple of the body, wherein is one source from which the world has emerged out, manifesting itself as the power of the procreation. So you need to touch that and recite it as the Anandam Parabrahmeti Yonihi. Anandam Parabrahmeti Yonihi. So, it is a spot in the great divine temple of the body wherein is the one source from which the world has emerged out, manifested itself as the power of the procreation. So, there you need to touch with your arm and saying Anandam Parabrahmeti Yonihi. And the entire band of the experience gained through the instruments of the body, the mind, and the intellect in terms of the perceptions, in terms of the emotions, and in terms of the thoughts together is indicated by the term Vishwa. So the entire experience is gained through the body, mind, and intellect is called as Vishwa. He who has manifested to be the total world of the experience must therefore be a Vishwarupaha. Total world of experiencer is the Vishwarupaha. So the cosmic form of the Lord, the Vishwarupa, is the total universe. Okay. So thus to meditate, that is thus to do the dhyanam. So upon him, who is he? The Vishwarupa, as the whole universe. So whole universe as in what do you call? It is said in Ishavasya Upanishad. Om Ishavasya midagam sarvam. So yet kinchit jagatyan jagat. So this is what is the already told in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Also, so this is a method of installing him in our intellect, which is the buddhi. So at this moment, the student locks his fingers and sits in meditation. So locks his fingers and sits in meditation. Shri Vishwarupa iti dhyanam. Shri Vishwarupa iti dhyanam. Why we call it as Vishwarupa? Again, we need to reinforce and understand, because he has manifested to be the total world of experiences, and therefore he is called as the Vishwarupa. The total cosmic form of the Lord is the total universe. And so the Vishwarupa you are going to meditate is Vishwarupa. And that is why you lock your fingers in the Dhyana Mudra and making it Shri Vishwarupa iti dhyanam. And the truth, the Lord, and his weapon, the discus, that is the rhythm, and that is called as the truth, and the Lord and his weapon, the weapon, the discus, called the Sudarshana, and his the annihilating power, which is the time. So these three are the mighty forces, and God, the sacred temple of the life in the seeker. Whenever he faces the world of the, it is the which we call it as Digbandha. So Digbandha. So to be truthful and ever to seek the greatest reality, which is Ritam, and to discriminate and see the play of the Lord in all situations, Sudarshanam. So first is to be truthful and ever to seek the great reality, Ritam, and then to discriminate and see the play of the Lord in all the situations, Sudarshanam, and to control the very instrument of the time, which is the Kala, which is the intellect in the seeker, is to guard the frontiers of one's spiritual world against the hordes of all these usual tendencies. So at this moment, the student snaps his middle finger with the help of his thumb and then runs his palm around his head. Okay. After all, the universe dwells in our own concept. So, Ritam Ritas Sudarshana Kala iti Digbandha. So, Ritas Sudarshana Kala. Ritas Sudarshana Kala iti Digbandha. So, at this moment, the student snaps his middle finger with the help of his tongue and runs his palm around his head. That is because, why? Because he understands that the Rita, Sudarshana and Kala, these are all the frontiers of the world who is influencing it. So to be truthful and to be in this path, and then to discriminate and see the Lord in every situation. If we like the person, you dislike the person, you like the situation, you dislike the situation. Do not do that. Instead, you see the God in everything. So, darshana, the best darshana, the right way of the darshana. And also, you need to control the instruments of time, which is the kala, that is, which is the intellect in the seeker. Okay. So, is to guard the frontiers of one's spiritual world. So, Ritam, Sudarshana, Kala. So, Ritas Sudarshana Kala iti Digbandha. Rita, it's not Rita, Ritu. Ritu Sudarshana Kala iti Digbandha. Like this. So, Shri Mahavishnu Prityarthe Sahasranama Jape Viniyoga. So, having this installed through the Sankalpa, the Lord in himself, and having surrendered himself and thus having come under the protecting wings of the mighty Bhagavan, here is a declaration how going to employ himself in it. That is, he is going to engage himself, the Viniyoga. That is, the devotee is going to engage himself in the Viniyoga, in the japa of the 1,000 names of the Lords. Now, the question is, with what motive should the Bhakta undertake this chanting? The answer is the very statement that is only to for the grace, that is Prityarthe of Shri Mahavishnu. Okay, this is the Sankalpa. So after chanting this dedication in the mind, the sadhaka takes a spoon of water, tirtham, in his right hand and pours it onto the floor in front of him. So Shri Mahavishnu Prityarthe Sahasranama Jape Viniyogaha. A true seeker is not a desire ridden for material satisfaction, and therefore he can have only one intention, that is the grace of the Lord, which will manifest in himself as a contemplative power. So the 12 slokans are chanted for invoking and installing these refreshing and spiritually beginning ideas on the limbs of the devotee. So the 12 shlokas are chanted before chanting the actual Vishnu Sahasranama. So all this juncture, this makes him inspired sufficiently for the higher meditation on the truth, as indicated and directed by the 1,000 terms of the Mahavishnu, that is the Sahasranama. So this beautiful ritual is known as the installation in the limbs. Not only that the student temporarily discovers a new surge of the inspiration, but even the beginners feel highly relieved, at least temporarily, from the loads of his sense of organs. So when this is properly done, that is, when this is properly performed with the right attitude and the devotion, what happens? So the student gains the identification with which the Lord, who is in his heart, at last, at the outer levels of the personality. So that is why this is being chanted, and the sadhaka also understands it. So let's end it here now. We can revise it quickly tomorrow again on the same, and then move ahead. Okay. So first, we can say the ending prarthana. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Okay. Thank you. Hari Om.